Welcome to week 3 of Pantry Challenge. My name's Taylor and this is the Birds and the Bees Homestead, and I'm participating in a challenge where I do not go to the grocery store in the month of January. I gave myself a couple exceptions, and one of those was if a social event or activity pops up, I really don't want to miss out on that. And that ended up happening today. I went for a run with my friends and I haven't seen them since before the holidays. So we ended up going for breakfast just because we had so much to catch up on. So that was a really nice morning spent with them. Another social event has popped up because a friend that lives out of town is nearby for her son's hockey game. So I'm just packing up my bag to head out to go and join her to watch that game. And I'm gonna try to avoid going through a drive-thru or going to grab a coffee. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna be sitting in a cold rink. So I'm gonna make myself a coffee or hot chocolate. Got my bag here packed with a bottle of water, and I'm just gonna bring some chips. I think it's about a 40-minute drive. So I figured I might get a little bit snacky on the drive there or the drive home. So I also wanted to show you, I haven't seen her in months. So I definitely have not seen her over the holidays. So I wanted to put together a little late Christmas gift for her of some Homestead goodies. I've got some red pepper jelly, homemade vanilla, salsa, and apple pie filling. And then I figured that her son would probably enjoy some of these freeze-dried treats. So I'm just gonna pack that all up and bring that. Interrupting to show you how stinking cute this little bee ring is that my friend gifted me for Christmas. And then I have yet to use my calendar for actual meal planning, but I think I really want to sit down and do that tonight. It'll be supper time by the time I get home. So I think we might end up using one of our convenience meals, probably that Trader Joe's curry that we can just stick in the microwave. It's been a busy weekend. I've been painting my bathroom, and so meal planning has not been on my mind at all. So hopefully I can get the bathroom finished tonight, sit down and do a meal plan for the rest of the week to make it a little bit easier on myself. But I'm gonna get packed up and head out. I will talk to you later. Change of plans for dinner tonight. We're hosting my friend and her boyfriend, so that means I need to cook. I ended up grabbing some turkey that we had left over from Christmas. One thing we did with our leftover turkey was make turkey tetrazzini, which was so delicious. So that's what I'm gonna try to do right now. I haven't printed the recipe to see if I have everything I need yet, but we should have most things. So we've got turkey. Obviously, I've got a ton of broth. Last time I used up my leeks, and I have them freeze-dried, so they're already on my shelf ready to go, and I've got a ton of pasta. So I'm gonna quickly throw this together because I think they just got here. We were busy enjoying our company, so I did not get a clip of our finished meal, but I'll make sure to leave a link to this recipe. So today's Monday of week 3 of Pantry Challenge. Today was an easy dinner because we had lots of leftovers from the pasta that we made last night, but I wanted to do a bit more planning this week. Tomorrow, I have friends coming over because I'm having a banana processing party. I got my hands on an insane amount of bananas that need to be dealt with, so I figured I would invite some friends over. I'll serve them dinner. They can help me chop and process all the bananas. I'll probably serve a banana dessert, send them home with some muffins. But my favorite muffin recipe calls for Greek yogurt, and I'm out of Greek yogurt. If you've seen my last video, you may have seen that my yogurt had gone bad before I was able to make another batch. So thankfully, I was able to source this small amount of yogurt that has active cultures, and I will use this with a bag of milk to make another batch of Greek yogurt. I wanted to take a pause and address this because I'm pretty sure this is a Canadian thing, but yes, we buy milk in bags. I've been doing this for probably a year now, and it's so easy. I've learned that I really like doing it in the crock pot. It takes a very long time, but I worked from home today, so on my lunch hour, I just threw all that milk in the crock pot and turned it on low. I need to wait until it reaches 180 degrees, and then I turned it off, and then once it gets to, I wanna say 110 degrees, I will mix in the cultures from this other Greek yogurt and then let it sit overnight. And then tomorrow before work, I will strain it and put it in the fridge so that when I go to make muffins tomorrow night, this yogurt will be ready to go. And it'll just be nice to have yogurt back in the fridge again. We just use up the rest of our sour cream, and I find this is a good substitute for sour cream as well. So I've got yogurt on the go right now. One other thing that I think I should prep is a snack. I like a salty snack in the evening. I was able to enjoy that corn dip last week, but we are all out of that corn dip. So what I found in the cupboard was these are chip dip mixes that I think I stocked up on at a Christmas farmer's market a long time ago, and they've just been sitting in my cupboard. and I have all the ingredients to throw this together. So I've got tomato basil, I've got 2 of those, blazing Cajun, and bacon and chili. I think I'm gonna go with the tomato basil, and all I need to do is add a cup of sour cream and some mayonnaise. Okay, I don't know why I thought I had all the ingredients for this. I do not have the sour cream, but I will be able to make this tomorrow. And then I have leftover Halloween chips from my parents, so I'll be able to use those chips to enjoy this dip. Part of my banana processing day is going to be chopping them up and running them through the dehydrator in the freeze dryer. Right now I have the dehydrator going and I have 2 racks of bananas in there. I'm going to run 1 tray of bananas through the freeze dryer. If these are good, I am probably going to chop and prep a whole bunch of bananas and just freeze them on these parchment papers like this, and then cycle them through my freeze dryer, just like I have been with those 50-some pounds of pumpkin. So that'll be really fun, hanging out with friends, doing some kitchen chores, doing some baking. I did pull some food out for dinner that I'm gonna serve them. Let me show you. So, you might have seen this in my pantry tour. I have this prepped pot pie filling that I did gluten-free because then my sister would be able to enjoy it as well. I had 2 pie crusts prepared to go with that. And then my sister also had this gluten-free pie crust in the freezer. And one of my friends that is coming over to help tomorrow is also gluten-free. So I'm glad that I already have this prepped and it'll be easy to throw together for her and my sister, and then I'll make some for myself. We just got a new to us fridge, and as I was transferring stuff from our old freezer to our new freezer, I came across this. I'm a lot better now at labeling things, but obviously at the time that I did this, I did not label it. This looks to me like a pie crust, so I took it out. I guess we'll find out tomorrow if that's what this is. I should have enough for dinner for tomorrow, and last night we made banana foster, I think it's called, flambéed, and oh my gosh, it was so delicious. I do wish we had ice cream to serve it over, so I think I'm gonna text my sister and see if she has any ice cream that she can bring, because that would be really, really delicious for dessert. Now let me show you what we're working with for bananas. Like I said, I have a ton of bananas. I think this is almost 2 boxes, maybe a little less. I also have an entire full box right here. So I think I was able to use up a little over 1 box already. I have a huge bag that I'm gonna bring into work tomorrow. I already gifted some to 4 friends, and I think Jeff is gonna go through and pick some out and give them to his friends. Whatever we end up with as leftovers are gonna go through the dehydrator, freeze dryer. We're gonna make some muffins, and I'm probably just gonna cut some in half and put them in the freezer for future baking and future smoothies. But I'll bring you along with me when we have our banana processing day, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You're probably wondering why I have so many bananas. A friend of mine reached out to me completely out of the random yesterday. She was helping host a tournament, and she said that they had all these left over from their tournament and didn't know what to do with them, so she thought of me and thought that I would be able to put them to good use. So she's one of my friends that's coming over to help me process these tomorrow. So I'm hoping to send her home with a bunch of goodies as a thank you. See you tomorrow for banana processing day. Good morning. I am up a little bit early today before work because I want to get my yogurt strained. I want to check on my freeze dryer, and I need to let the chickens out. So let's check on the yogurt. So it gets really nice and thick overnight. I'm just gonna strain it off. You can see there's a lot of liquid still. So I'm just gonna strain it in this cheesecloth. And this colander fits really nicely in this other bowl. So I really like this cheesecloth because I like being able to cinch the top so I don't have to worry about it toppling over and yogurt spilling. So I'm just gonna put this in the fridge downstairs. If you do this, you can strain it for as long as you wish. The longer you strain it, the thicker your yogurt will be. Lately, I find that I don't like to strain it too long because I find it thickens up anyways when you put it in the fridge. But I don't think it will be strained well enough by the time I have to leave for work. So I think I might need to leave it straining in the fridge until my lunch hour when I can come home and get it packed up. So let me put it in the fridge. Okay, so I'm just checking on the freeze dryer. I was able to get this started last night before I went to bed, hoping that I can make some good progress on banana chips. Let me just show you. So I've got the bananas up here on the top, some fruit, I think it's just mangoes, and this is pumpkin seeds. That's going to be chicken treats and dog treats. And this is what I was checking. So the machine will detect when it thinks everything is totally dry, but I want to be around when that happens because I want to double check to make sure that it's dry before the machine shuts itself off and defrosts. Also, yes, I am an adult wearing a onesie. It's cold out. And this keeps me warm. You cannot over dry your items. It's not like a dehydrator where it's cooking and it can get overcooked. This isn't cooking anything. This is just drying. Right now it says drying. Once the machine detects that it is dry, it will turn to extra dry time. So I want to be here to catch it when it's in extra dry time, because then I can do a little test to make sure it's actually dry. And if not, I'll put it back in to make sure it gets a little bit more time without my machine shutting off and defrosting, which I would then have to turn back on, cool it back down. It looks like it will be running all day while I'm at work. I'm hoping that it's pretty close to done tonight so I can at least pull out the bananas and make sure that they're good before we actually run a whole bunch through here. So that didn't take very long at all. So I'm up pretty early and I'm done my chores. So one thing that I was thinking would be a good way to spend the rest of my morning is assembling all these pies so that I can just throw them in the oven when I get home from work. But I've never actually like meal prepped pies before, and I don't know if the filling sitting in the pie crust is going to make the pie crust soggy. So I think that I'm just not going to prep these. It shouldn't take me very long to roll out pie crust. But if anyone has ever prepped this ahead of time, can you please comment and let me know whether I can do that? Maybe I should pre-cook the pie crust and then put the filling in, or just don't bother doing it at all. I would love to hear if you've tried this. So I'm just gonna stick this back in the fridge because it looks like it's fully defrosted. I am now caffeinated and medicated and ready to take on the day. I think I'll just tidy up for the rest of the morning. I gotta go let the chickens out, but it's still dark. And I will see you for my banana party. Okay, so I just got home I'm on my lunch hour right now. I do have an apron on, which I don't normally do, but I don't want to get my work clothes dirty. So I just took my strained yogurt out, and I've got all kinds of whey. I've run this through the freeze dryer already to make like a whey protein powder. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna do with this. In the past, I've frozen it and taken it out whenever I have a baking project. Like I love putting it in bagels or rolls or bread, but I don't have plans anytime soon to tackle any of those projects. So I'll probably just freeze these in silicone ice cube trays so that when I go to freeze dry it, I can just pop them out onto my freeze dry tray. I need to deal with that. And then here I've got my yogurt. It's probably going to be nice and thick because I strained it for quite a while. So this is nice and thick, and it's going to continue to thicken when I pop it in the fridge. I did pull out this dip that I started last night. I wasn't able to finish because I didn't have sour cream. I like to use Greek yogurt as a substitute for sour cream. So I was missing a cup, so I'm just gonna take a cup of that yogurt and put this in right now so I can have some chip dip later. Okay, that's looking a lot better. I think I'm just gonna pop this in the fridge. Later, give it another stir, and I'll probably take half of this out and stick it in the freezer because I always find this makes too much for us to be able to go through fast enough. So now I will have a frozen chip dip for if and when I run out of snacks again, I'll be able to pull this out. Okay, I'm really happy with how much yogurt I was able to get out of this 1 gallon of milk. These 2 big containers plus the cup that I already used in the chip dip. So I'm just gonna leave these in the fridge upstairs because I know I'm going to be using them up tonight when we are having our banana processing evening. I'm going to use some of this up in banana bread or banana muffins. So next I'm gonna have to do something with the whey. Let me see how many ice cube trays I have. Okay, I've got a few ice cube trays here. Let me just see how much of this whey I can fit. I think I'm gonna transfer this into this measuring cup to try to avoid making a mess. I've learned this from experience. Okay, it looks like I'm able to fit it all in these ice cube trays. Let me get these into the freezer, and my gosh, I am going to have a big list of things to freeze dry with this whey. I already have broth in the freezer, and hopefully after tonight we should have a ton of bananas. So I've got a couple pot pies in the oven right now, and I've got my first recipe all made up. And this is a batch of gluten-free banana bread that I'm just gonna make into muffins. Okay, so recipe number 2 is done. It's the same recipe, just not gluten-free. So I'm gonna just leave this in the bowl and wait until my muffin pans are available. But I wanted to show this bourbon vanilla bean paste. I picked this up at Trader Joe's when I was in the States with my sister. And I figured this was a special occasion, a banana emergency, that I would break out the fancy vanilla bean paste instead of using vanilla extract. This is my first time using this, so I'm really hoping that it's good because I just made 2 batches of banana chocolate chip muffins with it. So that only used up 4 bananas. So what I just did was run down and interrupt my freeze dry cycle because I really want to give these a taste test to make sure that we like them before I go ahead and prep a whole bunch of more bananas, sliced and frozen, to process in the freeze dry. And I also pulled out, I ran a couple banana peels through. These are so dry. I feel like I could run all the banana peels through the freeze dryer and then powder this up and add this to my garden as fertilizer or feed this to the chickens. So I'm glad I checked that. I'm definitely gonna do this with all of the banana peels. All right, I think we'll freeze dry a ton of these. Okay, so right now what we're doing is dicing all these bananas up and layering them in the parchment so that I can freeze it and then just run this through the freeze dryer because those freeze-dried bananas are delicious. So we're chopping them up. I've got a chicken bowl here for any overly ripe bananas, like really ripe that they're not even worth putting in banana bread. I've got a banana bread ripeness bowl here. And I've got this tray for us to lay out the banana peels because I'd like to lay them pretty flat so that I can also run these through the freeze dryer. I'm really excited to have this as fertilizer for my garden. So I'd like to say that it looks like we're finally making a dent in the bananas, but I don't see any dents. It still looks like an absurd amount of bananas, but at least we're getting through it. We'll probably work on this until the pies are done, and then luckily or unluckily, I live somewhere that is cold enough for me to stick those bananas outside on my deck and they will freeze out there. I don't even need to bother putting them in the freezer. So that's the plan for now. Keep you posted on our next project. This pie turned out so beautiful, and I was told that the gluten-free pie was tasty. It ended up being such a fun night hanging out with friends, yapping, eating some delicious food, and chopping bananas. I'm so grateful to have people in my life that are just down for the most random banana processing party on a Tuesday night. So our banana processing party just wrapped up. I'm so grateful for my friends came over to help me tackle all those projects. Let me show you what we got done and the aftermath of the party and take you out onto the deck because it's below freezing. I don't know if you can see this. Got 2 big trays of banana peels out here. These are just gonna freeze. I don't wanna bother making freezer space. Those are gonna be turned into garden fertilizer. I did run some through the dehydrator and they worked okay. They all got really brown, but the freeze dryer, they are so dry and crumbly. I'm just gonna probably put these in the food processor and make a powder to add to my garden. I've got 10 trays in the dehydrator. I'm probably gonna wake up in a few hours to check on these and see if they need any more time. There's a lot of bananas in here, so I wanna make sure I do this right. The oven is off because we made so many muffins. This is what we kept for ourselves. I did enjoy one tonight, but I've got lots of bananas in the freezer if I want to make more. I sent all the rest home with my friends. These are the dishes, which really isn't too bad. I got the dishwasher loaded and running. I'll wash these by hand tomorrow, probably on my lunch hour. This is going to be chicken food. What else we got? Oh, we did end up trying some in the air fryer. We were snacking on them all night and this is what's left. They were okay, but I think the other preservation methods were better. And this is all we have left. I have 2 friends that said that they would take some bananas, so I left out a couple of bunches for them. I tried to pick ones that weren't too ripe, but I'm so glad that I dealt with all those bananas because you can tell that these are still pretty ripe. I'm glad I dealt with them before they went bad. And here's my freezer. You can see I still have 1, 2, 3 trays of pumpkin to process. And then what we did was dice up a bunch of bananas and put them on parchment. So I have so many layers of diced bananas in here that I'm going to run through the freeze dryer. So I'm gonna call it quits on the banana processing party. That was a success. It was a lot of fun, but I am wiped and I'm ready for bed. So I will see you tomorrow, see what we have for dinner. We clearly have very exciting plans tonight because it is 6 o'clock and I'm already in my onesie. I had planned on cooking tonight. I wanted to make either chili or tofu curry, but I had a very productive but mentally draining day at work today. And I got home and had to deal with chicken situation. One of my chickens had a prolapse, I think is what it's called. We finally just got that dealt with and I felt really icky, so I took a shower and all I wanted to do was put on my comfy clothes, and now I really don't want to cook dinner. Mr. Noodles and air fried wings was the perfect meal for a night that we didn't feel like cooking. Thursday was a really rough day. I lost my first chicken, so I just microwaved this Trader Joe's meal and then took some time for myself. Jeff did make himself a chopped cheese sandwich, which is similar to a burger but with chopped beef and toast. But later that evening I was still hungry, so I made myself a tuna melt with one of those homemade English muffins and some freeze-dried veggies. So today is Friday. It's been a rough week. I'm feeling exhausted from dealing with a sick chicken. So I really think I need a pick-me-up for dinner tonight. There's a bit of beef left over from Jeff's dinner last night. I'm in the mood for something really delicious. So I thought tonight would be a good night to pull out the homemade raviolis. And we'll have that with beef. And then the vodka sauce that we made a couple weeks ago was really good. I freeze-dried the rest of the tomato paste. So I'm excited to try rehydrating this for my sauce. And then I also remembered that I had this sitting around. These are the last of the onions that I grew in my garden. I don't know, this is not really much of an onion. I don't even know what these varieties are. Obviously there's some red onion, but I think some of these might be shallots, some might be white onion, but whatever it is, I think it's the perfect amount for one dinner. And those raviolis were homemade. I made the filling, I made the cheese, made the pasta noodles. So I figured if it's such a special dish, I might as well use up the rest of my garden veggies in this sauce. And I'm not gonna follow a recipe, I'm probably just gonna wing it. So I just put a little bit of hot water in this jar, which was my freeze-dried tomato paste, and immediately it is rehydrating. I'm definitely going to be freeze-drying more tomato paste. So I guess there was already onion cooked in with the beef, so I didn't bother adding these garden onions. I do have another plan for these though. I took out an extra pie crust the other night when I was making chicken pot pie and it didn't get used, so I think I might make a quiche in the morning and I can use those onions in that. So what I did add to this beef was some garlic. I used up the rest of that tomato paste, some vodka, and typically I think you need to use heavy whipping cream, but I don't have that, so I just added, this is all the milk that we have in the house. If it doesn't thicken up, you can always add some Parmesan cheese. I forgot to say I also added red pepper flakes, and I wanted to show this is all the Parmesan cheese that we have left. So I'll use this up in our dinner tonight. That'll be one of the first things on the list when I go back to the grocery store in February, is to stock up on cheddar cheese and more Parmesan cheese. This was so delicious. I enjoyed it with some sparkling water, and then we made up a big batch of brownies and enjoyed the leftover ice cream from our banana party. Good morning. Today's Saturday morning. Yesterday, I think I said that I was hoping to make a quiche today because I have a pie crust left over in the fridge that needs to be used up and some garden onions that I would love to put in that quiche. I do have a couple of errands to run today, and I've been running around the house trying to finish chores, so I didn't end up leaving myself enough time to make the quiche, but we'll see what time I get home from running my errands. I might make that for like a late lunch. I did want to make myself a quick and easy breakfast before I head out and do my chores. And of course, I've been enjoying lots of bananas. I've been making this chocolate banana smoothie, which is not something I've ever made before. I typically just stick with strawberry and mango smoothies. I found a recipe that I will link below. I haven't been following the recipe, but I've been using it as inspiration because I don't like to measure anything. So I just use milk, yogurt, peanut butter, cocoa powder, honey, obviously bananas. I like to put frozen bananas so it's a little bit thicker, and vanilla extract. I've been putting some of my vanilla protein powder that I have from Costco, as well as the whey protein powder that I freeze dried myself. I don't know if I would consider that protein powder. I don't know what makes it protein powder, but it's just freeze dried whey. And this is really delicious. So it's a good thing I have a ton of frozen bananas that I'll be able to make myself lots of these. Usually what I do is make a smoothie and then put a couple in a jar in the fridge, so I only have to dirty my blender once and I'll get 3 breakfasts from it. But this is so good. I had another thought of what I might do with some of the leftover smoothie. is try to make overnight oats with it. I think all those ingredients would go really well with oatmeal. So I might just put some dry oats in a container, mix it in with the smoothie mixture, and maybe even add some chocolate chips and put it in the fridge and try that as a breakfast. As I was making my smoothie though, I used up all the rest of the milk in the house. So I think maybe when I'm going and running my errands today, might need to pop into Costco to pick up some milk and some cheddar cheese. That should be under $25. So I'm hoping I still have a little bit of my emergency budget left, just in case there's something else that I come across in the next few weeks. Don't think we're gonna go until February without buying more milk and cheese. So I'll have to pick up those two things. Before I go, I also wanted to show you some progress I made on the banana processing project. This is one of the chores I wanted to tackle this morning. This isn't all of the bananas I got from the dehydrator, but it's most of them. We've been snacking and the dogs have been snacking and we've been taste testing. These are pretty good. They did not turn out how I had hoped. So I love buying those banana chips at the grocery store. They're crunchy and sweet. And so that's what I was hoping to recreate. I'll do a taste test so you can hear what they're like. They're still really good. They're just not the texture that I would have wanted. So I'm still trying to decide, like, could I put it in now and run it even longer and get like actual banana chips, or just enjoy them as is, because they are good. Just wanted to show you how many we got. I have the freeze dryer going right now running banana peels, which I will turn into garden fertilizer. I have done hardly any freeze dried bananas, but those banana peels I threw on a big tray and I threw them on my deck. It's very, very cold outside, so they have stayed frozen out there, but I'm really tired of looking at them. And I don't really feel like transferring them from those trays into a container into my freezer. So I figured I would just run those straight through the freeze dryer. So I got that project also tackled this morning. So for now, I'm gonna get dressed, enjoy my smoothie, pack up the car, and I do need to run an errand at the chicken food store. I was so generously gifted a gift card to the chicken food store. I thought I would do some fun retail therapy today because I could use it after the week that I had. I started planning out my garden for the spring, and a lot of seeds I am gonna have to start thinking about starting soon over the winter. So I have a list of the seeds that I need. The chicken food store has lots and lots of seeds for sale. I'll probably pick a handful up today. I'll do a little haul, maybe I'll show you what I got later. But anyway, I gotta get going. Okay, so I'm just about packed up to head out on my errands. I've got my water bottle, coffee. I might put this in a better container. I might just risk it. Don't want to have to go through the drive-thru to get a coffee or any kind of drinks. Got some chips, Christmas candy, and some deer jerky. So I should have lots of snacks. I'm going to be gone probably until very late in the afternoon, so I don't have a lunch prep, but I think I've got enough snacks to keep me full and keep me from going through a drive-thru. Especially if I'm going to Costco this morning. I don't want to go to Costco hungry because it might get me. Guess what? I went to Costco and I stuck to my list. I got cheese and milk. I spent $14.38. The cheese is regular $15 and it was on sale for 10 bucks, which I probably normally would have stocked up, and I'm wondering if I should have got two, but that would have been my full $25 emergency budget. At least now I have about $10 left in case there's one or two more ingredients that we run out of, but pat on the back that I was able to walk into Costco and walk out with just those two items and wasn't tempted by anything else falling into my cart. But I did not end up eating any of the snacks that I brought, other than I drank the coffee and the smoothie, so I'm pretty hungry for lunch, so I need to go find something. Okay, lunch is gonna be really easy. I left out a couple of these homemade English muffins from the other day, and this is the last one that I have that's not my freezer, so I need to make sure I eat this up before it goes bad. So I'm just gonna make another tuna melt. I had one of these the other day and it was so good, and I'm craving another one. So it's just a can of tuna. I'm gonna throw in some mayonnaise, salt and pepper, and I find this is the perfect use for my freeze-dried celery and green onion. I love having these on my shelf, not having to keep fresh vegetables and not having to chop them. I'm just gonna throw that all together, and I like to just cut a piece of cheese and put it on top and air fry it. So that's what I'm gonna do. That homemade pizza that we made last week was so good. We were craving it again. So I made this quick pizza dough recipe. I'll leave a link down below because I think it's my favorite pizza dough that I've ever made. I made the pizza dough and Jeff made the pizza and some garlic fingers. And this time we did barbecue chicken pizza. So we don't have any barbecue sauce, but we found a recipe to make our own. So there's barbecue sauce, cheese, chicken, hot peppers, and green onion. Is that it?
Yeah.
And it looks delicious. And that's a wrap on week 3 of Pantry Challenge. I think we're going pretty strong. I wanted to show you, I'm just gonna have a brownie left over from last night for dessert. And I forgot to mention that when I was making that pizza dough for dinner, I made a double batch this time, and so I sectioned it out into 2 pizza doughs, and I'm gonna stick this in the freezer so my future self does not have to dirty my KitchenAid mixer and get the flour out and make a mess whenever I want homemade pizza. So giving my future self that gift, and I'm really glad I was able to get that done tonight. Wow, what a chaotic week. A banana emergency, a chicken crisis. I finished painting my bathroom, and I hosted 2 last-minute dinner parties. I think you could really see my energy level drop by the end of the week. But man, am I ever grateful that I was well stocked up on some very simple, easy, ready-to-go meals. I found a few more items to add to my grocery list, and I did have to spend some of my emergency budget. I'm genuinely so impressed and so pleased with how I'm making out in this challenge so far, but I am very much hoping for a much less chaotic week next week. Thank you so much for watching. I encourage you to subscribe if you aren't already, because clearly things are starting to get interesting. If you missed my last few videos, I will leave a link to my Pantry Challenge playlist so you can check those out. And I will see you next week for week 4 of Pantry Challenge.